was drinking some wine.
I want to remind you it's that time of year again.
What time? Pumpkin, spice, everything?
Well, you're getting close. It's that time of year when all the really cheesy horror movies come out.
Oh, yeah. Are there any good cheesy ones?
I'll give you a few of my thoughts about The Nun II.
Okay.
Now, first of all, I was a little bit excited to see it because, as you know, I was educated in Catholic schools for 12 years, and I just thought I would, let's just see what they can tell me about a nun.
Yeah.
A scary movie about a nun. And sure enough, they made, I think within the first 60 seconds, they made 3 Catholic mistakes. And then there were just Catholic mistakes all through the movie. For that matter, there were school mistakes and Catholic school mistakes and France mistakes and 1950s mistakes and America mistakes and just every kind of mistake you could possibly think of in the world. And, well, as for the Catholic mistakes, this got me to wondering, okay, in a movie as cheesy and as bad as this one, could you really improve like a cheesy, just an intentionally cheesy horror movie with actual faithfulness to something like, the way Catholics do things? For instance, in one of the early scenes, this one young nun is sharing her problems, her feelings with this other young nun, and the younger nun is saying, I don't know, sometimes I have doubts. I mean, how could wine be the blood of Christ? I'm going, what? Are you kidding me? You're a nun? And you've gotten this far and you're not even sure about the transubstantiation? And the second one is going, you just have to have faith. You just have to have faith. When the time comes, your faith will come too. And I thought, oh my God, she's not like jumping up and saying, my God, Sister Priscilla. And then another thing, that same, like the younger nun, the Reverend Mother is bugging her to go to confession. Go to confession, go to confession. And the Reverend Mother sends the older young nun to tell the younger young nun to go to confession. And the younger young nun is saying, oh, I just, whatever. She's saying, I'm just this, that, this. And
is she having doubts about that too?
No, she's not having doubts about that. I can't even remember. It was just all purpose. Oh, here I am. She's smoking a cigarette. And the older young nun kind of listens to her and then says, well, I think you've confessed enough. I think I'd consider that a confession. And as we all know, the purpose of confession isn't to make yourself feel better. You got to get your sins confessed. You've got to get them or forgiven. You've got to get, or they're going to be on your soul if you don't go and get them forgiven.
And a priest has to do that. A nun, or whoever, the older young nun, can't. Yeah.
She can't absolve her.
She can't just proclaim that the girl has done a confession.
No, I mean, confession means something. It has a distinct separate. It's not it's I have to confess to you. I really do like chocolate or whatever. That's not what we're talking about. Yeah. So there's that. But I do wonder. I mean, really, if some nun was starting to have doubts or she didn't want to go to confession, you could really do something with that in a psychological sort of thriller. Or
you could. You really could.
And she doesn't want to go to confession, and she has sins on her soul, and she, you could do something with that. But they just brush the whole thing off, and And then there are little things like these are 2 nuns from America, and they go to France to solve some mystery. A bunch of people in the clergy are dying mysteriously and horribly. And get this, they go to this church where these strange deaths are happening. And they stay in a hotel.
Okay, in the first place, I don't understand why 2 young nuns from America have to go to France to solve a crime. Don't they have crime solvers in France?
Mind you, this is Nun II. This is the Nun II. Apparently in the Nun I, this older young nun solved some sort of horrible murders or deaths that were going on. So they want her to go back and take a look at what's going on over here in France.
So she drags the younger young nun with her.
They are out specifically to investigate some murders or deaths that happened in a cathedral, and there is a convent attached.
Okay,
So,
well then that's where they'd be staying.
that's where they'd be staying. And see, if you
Yeah.
attended to little details like that, that could make it just that much more. You could be a more better world building. You know, you would just
Yes.
build your world
Yes.
better. You want a nice,
Yes.
tightly built world.
Yes, and actually, a detail like that would actually instruct people. It would educate people on what Catholic nuns do, on how a Catholic nun travels.
Yes.
Where do they stay? Like, who knows? Who
Yeah.
knows that? Well, you watch this crappy movie and you find out.
That's right. You say, how do you know that? You say, because I watched The Nun II.
Yeah.
So you see. Anyway, so that's just one of many kinds of little details and many kinds of mistakes. Oh, and another thing, they call each other by their first names. My name is Irene. No, your name isn't Irene. Your name is Sister Margaret William, or your name is Sister Francis Joseph, or your name is Sister something. Your name is not Irene. They don't go around calling themselves, they don't introduce themselves as Irene.
Right.
So that's another thing. I mean, you would get this sense of the absolute discipline and convention and adherence to, rules.
Now,
and
just out of curiosity, are these nuns wearing habits, or do they dress like street people?
Oh no, because this supposedly takes place in the 1950s. They're wearing habits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well then they definitely wouldn't be calling each other by their first names, and they definitely wouldn't be staying at a hotel.
Right.
I mean, that would be that's near sacrilege.
Yes, it is. So
Okay.
I'll tell you now what the movie was about. What happens in the movie? So.
What happens?
Okay, well, what happens is people walk down dark hallways, and then a statue's eyes light up and go, bah! And then the person walks up a flight of stairs, and the flight of stairs is very, very, very dark. And at the top of the stairs, a monster comes out and goes, wah! And either kills them or doesn't kill them. But that's all this movie is. As I was watching this movie, I was thinking, okay, this is a movie with a scary monster in it or something, and it's getting people, and they have to get the monster before it gets them. Now, what is the difference between this extremely bad movie and a really good scary movie like Alien or Aliens? I mean, in this movie, it's just one mysterious weird thing after another. Someone walks down a hallway and something jumps out at them and maybe kills them or maybe doesn't. Someone walks down a dark alleyway and something maybe jumps out at them. And then finally in the last 15 minutes, it's just one fight after another, one monster after another, one bloody thing, one staring thing.
See, that would just bore me stiff.
I was so bored stiff. I mean, at least in Alien and Aliens, you get a sense that, okay, they're closing off this part of the ship and they're closing off that part of the ship. And the aliens got one guy. Now the aliens got another guy. Now they're down to so many weapons and they're down to just so much area. And now they're running out of air. And like you get this progression of, the stakes go up and the scene gets more complicated. But in this movie, Nun II, it's just one random, you could sort these scenes all up.
They're just capitalizing on Halloween. That's all they're doing. They're just trying to make a buck for Halloween, and they're not particularly interested in making a good movie. They just want something to scare you.
Yes, it's just something, just one scary scene after another, after another, after another.
Yeah.
One jump scare, one monster, one thing after another, after another. So this actress, her name is Storm Reed, and she's very watchable and very cute. And who knows, she might even be a good actress. She might be a good actress, but who would know? Who would know with a movie like this? I mean, all she does is say stupid things and scream. Mm-hmm. So this is where I'm coming to my thesis of this little discussion, which is that I think that horrible writing is shortchanging good actors and directors in Hollywood.
Well, hasn't it been doing that for an awful long time now?
Yes, no doubt. Yes, it undoubtedly has. And I think we should talk about it. I think we should talk about how audiences settle for this horrible writing. I mean, anyone who listened to me complain about, how they got all these Catholic things wrong would be saying, oh, so what? So what? It's scary. I mean, you don't need to, it doesn't matter. It's scary. It did what it was supposed to do. It's just supposed to do some cheap thrills, which is arguably true. But I think there's so much bad writing in Hollywood right now that there's just so much bad writing, isn't there? Doesn't everyone know that Hollywood is loaded with bad writing right now? And it's to the point where...
Everybody totally knows that.
Okay. And why, is that because the writers are bad, or is it because the directors and the producers are sticking their fingers in it and taking bad writing?
That's what I think. That's what I think. It comes out bad in the end. It goes into, one end of the production machine and comes out the other end, and it's, it's like stuff that comes out the other end. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just because, writers are like any other category of job in the film industry. Anything that they do is completely flexible when the director gets a hold of it, or a producer, or whoever, a financier or something. If they have a problem with that line, it's out. Mm-hmm. So, writers know that their stuff is going to get raped, and they just know that going in. They just know that going in. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, yeah, I think that it's not the right, who knows what the true caliber of the writing is, because it comes out so bad. Maybe it's bad going in and it comes out bad too, but it could be good going in. I have no idea.
Well, this movie, Nun II, I know was bad going in. I'm going to show you an audition tape of an actual actress. Her name is Maleeka Gasbarri.
What do you mean just do it? Like, I can't just do it. I'm not gonna just do it.
Just go ahead.
What's wrong with you? You thinking about Marcus? Are you in love with him?
I don't want to talk about him right now.
Well, it's just want a yes or no. I'm not asking for a whole essay.
I don't know. Maybe.
She looks like a pretty decent actress, doesn't she?
Yeah.
I think that she looks like... No. She was in a movie called The Clearing. A father must battle his way through the zombie apocalypse to save his daughter. This is all I can find of her in the trailer.
Seen a little girl.
Okay, that's it. That's all we see of her in the trailer. I think that she plays the dispensable pretty girl who's eaten by a zombie. I think she's capable of doing a lot more than that.
But you think that she is not given the opportunity because of bad scripts?
Yes, that's what I think. By the way, this is ranked 4.3 on IMDb, this movie. But I remind you, that's 4.3 out of 10. And that's where she looks like a dang talented actress to me. Maybe watch a little bit more of her somewhere. Mm-hmm. Let's see here.
You don't kiss and tell in this business. Not even when it's a member of cabinet.
Especially when it's a member of cabinet.
Ted Hamilton never approached you?
Who's that?
Too smart to play dumb, Rachel. You know who that is.
Yeah, name rings a bell. But try not to watch the news. Too many familiar faces.
Okay, but clearly she's got some range. She's got an interesting face. She's got a nice, sweet voice, and she has she can bring the intensity.
Yes, you can tell. Yeah. She's into it. She's totally capable.
Yeah, and she is doing this movie where she just runs to the camera and screams because it's the zombie apocalypse.
Well, we don't know why she's doing that. Maybe she has really bad representation. Does she have a decent agent?
I'm going to stick to my theory that there's a lot of talent in Hollywood that gets wasted because of this horrible writing. Like I say, we don't know what's actually written, but it comes out as bad.
Yeah, it does come out as bad.
If it's not on the page, it's not on the stage, as they say, and it's not on the page. So I feel sorry for, talent.
Yeah.
I think there's talented actors and actresses all over the place, everywhere, and And
Yeah.
there's just so little for them to do, unless, local theater, that's always something. But
Yeah.
but Hollywood actors, I feel sorry for these people wanting to be in film, because how many good films are made in a year? How many good parts are written in a year?
Yeah, very few. And I mean, the statistics on making a living
Oh yeah.
as an actor, acting in Hollywood is, I mean, like, they're all waiters and waitresses.
I know.
They all
Yeah,
are.
I know.
I mean, just a fraction of a percent can actually feed their families.
Well, I just think it's too bad that they also have to get parts just running towards a camera screaming when they can do so much
Yeah.
more. When they can cry on cue, and they can be
Yeah.
cool or sarcastic or passionate or whatever. That brings me back to Storm Reed in The Nun II. I would like to see if she can act.
Well, hopefully she'll get a good script after the strike is over. As we speak, there's a strike going on.
Yes,
So
there
maybe-
is a strike. Yes.
So maybe after this strike is over, somebody will actually write a script, and Storm Reed, is that her name?
Storm Reed. Mhm.
Yeah, so maybe she'll get a good part.
I think it was you. I think it was you who told me that someone told you that they had never seen so much contraction in Hollywood as what's going on right now.
Yes. A producer I know told me that Hollywood is, in his words, violently contracting. 10 years from now, the film world, I have no idea what that will be. I don't know what it'll look like, but I suspect that Hollywood will no longer really be the epicenter of it, because there are so many factors involved in crumbling Hollywood right now, and they're kind of not controllable. I just see it just kind of, it's a evolutionary thing. I think that we don't even know what film will be like 10 years from now. We don't know what that will consist of. Will anybody watch something on a screen? I mean, who knows? I mean, it can go so many different ways. I guess we'll still be watching entertainment, but new content is going to have, it's going to be different. I don't know what it will be, but it will be different. What it will even be. Are we going to watch a 90-minute movie? Or is anybody going to watch? Is anybody going to make a 90-minute movie? I don't even know.
It's going to be that drastic of a change, you think, potentially?
Yeah, 10 years from now, it's going to be a completely different landscape. That's my prediction. I just don't see it settling back down. I think when it does settle back down and settle like into the cracks and stuff, it's just going to be different.
Okay, here's my biggest question of all. Do you think that the Writers Guild is going to die? Do you think that at some point producers are going to say, we're just going to go ahead and make this without the unions?
I think that the Writers Guild should be scared shitless, because that can absolutely happen. Because everybody knows that AI can write a script every bit as good as what's coming out of Hollywood right now. So they ought to be scared.
You don't think that actors will jump onto that burning funeral pyre with them either, will they? They'll.
I don't know. That's why I say 10 years from now, the entire landscape is going to be different. It's going to be completely different. I don't know what the content will be. Clearly, they can resuscitate Clark Gable and stick him in a film. Clark Gable and Jean Harlow, put them in a rom-com.
Yeah, or they can make Cameron Diaz like 22 years old forever.
Yes.
Of course, she would have to consent to that, but maybe she would have if the price was right.
Yes. It's a whole new world. It's a whole brave new world.
Well, and it might be because of the so-called creatives behind The Nun II. Just slapping together stuff that any AI could write. In fact, an AI would probably do better, because you could feed it all the facts and the AI would actually get some of the details right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, anyway, by the way, this brought me to an idea for a scary movie. And anyone can steal this idea if they want it. So here was my idea, and it's based on events from real life. So this girl goes to see this scary movie. And the whole time she's in this scary movie, she's rolling her eyes and saying, oh, this is stupid. That wouldn't happen that way. Oh, you got that wrong, and ugh. And she's almost like checking her phone and falling asleep. And then the movie ends. And like she leaves before the credits have even finished rolling. And she's almost like she's just outside the theater door, and she realizes she forgot her phone or something, she used her car key, something. So she has to go back into the theater and get her thing. So she goes back in, and everyone else has left, but the credits are still rolling, and it's real dark, and the scary music is still playing, and she feels her way to her seat. She's looking for her keys or her phone, whatever she's, and the monsters come off the screen. They say, you were disrespecting us, now we'll show you. And she screams and she runs to the door, and the doors are locked. And the monsters are crawling on her. And it turns, and then we just cut, maybe the next day the cops are there and they're just looking at this dismembered corpse and going, well, we just have no idea. Anyway, it turns out that this is happening in this movie everywhere it's showing. The monsters do not like being dissed. And if there's anyone in the audience who's just like throwing popcorn and yelling and saying that's stupid and what, not paying attention, whatever, the monsters get that. And at some point, some enterprising detective or whatever, they decide to look at this, like the Lauren Boebert infrared camera scene where she was groping.
Yeah.
So they watch what was happening in the audience, and on this like infrared camera, they can see this monster creeping up on the guest and lifting their phone out of their purse and putting it under their seat so that they'll miss it. And it's really scary, because you see this super scary monster, but the monster is in some sort of disembodied form, but you can still see it. And like they're doing things like they're sitting in front of the person and making a horrible, scary face right in their face, and the person doesn't even know it. And it's just real creepy, and they're just doing horrible things to them. And this is happening all over, and they have to figure, and finally someone realizes what's going on, that this is happening in all these movies where this movie, or in all these theaters where this movie's being shown, when they realize they have to somehow stop these monsters. But it's going to keep happening.
Why don't they just stop showing the film?
Well, even when it shows in someone's house, because they're terribly concerned what's going to happen when it comes out on DVD. But also, it's digital. There's no pulling it back. It's digital. It's out there. It's on Tor, it's on BitTorrent, it's sailing the high seas. The Chinese have gotten a hold of it, and it's going to get all over. It's going to spread all over the world.
So does anybody go to the makers of this film and say, what the hell did you do?
I haven't thought through that part yet. I haven't gotten there yet. But anyway, there's my premise for a scary movie.
That could be a good scary movie. It could be a good scary movie because it sort of turns the table on several films that we've seen where people actually walk into the film on screen, like The Purple Rose of Cairo, or a lot of like some Twilight Zone episodes. I've seen it. I've seen it several times.
So there's my idea. So anyone out there, any writer, go ahead and steal this idea.
That's a good
Any
idea.
Producer, go ahead and steal. Although you'll probably mess it up and make it really bad.
Yeah, give it to AI.
Yeah. If you have AI, write it.
Yeah.
If you want it to come out good.
Yeah.
Seen a little girl.